Are you tired of having the same old boring villager converter in your base? Not really? Well, let me introduce to you the Deal-Maker-9000, the all-new and improved villager converter for all of your trading needs. First, send your villager through into the Deal-Maker. The villager will be sent into the Deal-Maker's patented villager separation chamber to be filtered into one of 4 conversion cells. Wow! Next, just place your desired workstation in front of the villager until it gets the trade you want. What's that? The trade you want is too expensive? The Deal-Maker's got you covered. Simply trade with your villager once to lock in the trade and hit the conversion switch. Don't worry, a little discoloration of the skin is expected as the Deal-Maker does its thing. Once the villager and any others in the system are green, first hit the conversion switch again to avoid reconverting prematurely, and then hit the splash button to prep the villagers for snack time. Give the villager a golden apple and wait for that green skin to clear. Now take a look at those deals. Still not low enough for you? Run the Deal-Maker again and again until you get that deal. Sheesh. Now that's a low price. Once you've got your 1 emerald trade, flip the lever next to the villager and the Deal-Maker-9000 is ready to run again. Now let's hear from some of our happy customers.
The Deal-Maker is amazing. I've never seen anything quite like it.
I mean, it's okay. I save on splash potions at least.
Please help me. They're holding me here again.
Isn't that great? You could be as happy as these folks too. In fact, 1 in 100 redstone geniuses recommend the Deal-Maker-9000 for your villager conversion needs. So what are you waiting for? Hit that like button and order your Deal-Maker-9000 today. Villagers were harmed in the making of this production. Golden apples not included. All assembly required. Villager breeders sold separately. A villager separation chamber patent pending. Hello everybody, Napkin99 here, and welcome back to the Minecraft Let's Play series. I hope you enjoyed my little intro. I obviously did something a little different than I usually do, because we are going to be making a villager conversion chamber today, as well as villager breeder and stuff, and I wanted to try something a little different with it. But before we get into that, we did a stream between episodes where we actually went into the end, and that's how we got these wings on our back, and shulker boxes of course, so those are great to have. So if you did miss that, be sure to follow my Twitter and or subscribe and hit the bell so you get notified when I do go live. Anyways, we're going to be making our villager breeder probably up in this little cove over here. I thought might be a nice spot for it. I've already mapped out a little area where our villager conversion chamber, or the Deal-Maker-9000 as I like to call it, is going to go. But before we build that, we need to actually make a villager breeder, which I decided to do off camera because you guys have probably seen them a million times and I don't have the slightest clue how they work. So I just followed a tutorial, and the link for that tutorial will be in the description if you guys wanted to build one yourselves. And now our villager mater is pretty much all made. We still need to get the villagers in there and then an area to actually collect them. But I want to build our villager conversion chamber first before we do that, so we know where we can funnel the villagers into. Because this villager conversion chamber is my own design. I was able to figure this bit out. I did something a little different, not necessarily practical for most situations probably. But what I want to do with my villagers is make them here and take them out and put them in different parts of my base, since this is going to be a pretty expensive base and some villagers will probably be suited better to different sections, so I don't want to come running all the way back up here. As for materials, these are basically what we need. These are not necessarily exact numbers, but this should be at least enough, if not more than enough, to do what we need to do here. So I guess to get started here, let's get up top and let's get a sticky piston, and we're going to put one on all 4 sides. And it's going to have a block in front of it. We'll use red concrete so we can kind of tell what we're working with here. So we've got our pistons there. We're going to fill the rest of this layer with white concrete. So it should be looking like that. So you can see our 4 chambers that our villagers are going to drop into are these 4 blocks here, and then the center will be an area they can't get to. And let's actually go ahead and get our block in the middle here that our villagers are going to fall on, which will be that red block there. So basically what's going to happen, we're going to send a villager through a tube here that's going to fall down onto this red concrete, and it's going to take a small bit of damage which will cause it to panic. So what these blocks are going to do, they're going to be pushed out if the path to that spot is open, so that we can only have 1 villager in each of these spots. So with this block being pushed over here, so let's just say it's ready for a villager, the villager that is panicking will look for a spot to run, And since this block is less than 3 blocks away, it won't take fall damage from going that way, so it'll choose that direction, as opposed to these other 3 ways which are open, because if they went this way they would take fall damage, so they'll try to avoid going that way. As for the redstone to make that happen, we're going to want to put a block here, block there, and this is where one of our tripwire hooks is going to be attached to. And then we'll want to get a block here with a redstone dust on it. And then from the block that the redstone dust is on, we're going to put a sticky piston with a target block on top of it so that the line connects to it. And then we're going to put a block here with a repeater on it, and then an observer facing this way so that it's looking at this repeater, and then just a block on top of the sticky piston. So when this tripwire is activated, it'll send a quick pulse to that piston, which will push the block out, and the piston will retract, but it'll still leave the block. And then we're just going to go ahead and repeat that on all 4 corners here. So now we're just going to go ahead and connect all of our tripwires. The other end of the tripwire will be on the observer, but the power won't go through the observer. So we'll just attach all of our tripwire hooks and put string between them all. They should have like a little cross pattern like that. So say a villager falls through here, you'll see that the block gets pushed out. So now we just have to turn these into tubes that go up a little bit, just by putting blocks like so on all sides. So from up top, it should look a little something like this. Make sure your villagers don't have any space to walk off before they can fall through the floor there. And then we're just going to build this up a few more blocks just to make sure that the villagers actually take fall damage. Otherwise this won't work. They'll just sit on this block forever and ever, and you'll have to get in there and shoot them or something to get them to fall down. And I forgot, we actually need to close up this tube a little bit so that they don't just fall straight into one of these tubes. So once you've gone up 2 blocks from that red block, then we will put the tube like this, and it'll just be a 1x1 chamber. And we'll probably just go up 2 blocks with this. And then once we're up here, we're going to make this actual path for the villagers to get in here on this water. So we're going to put a piece of packed ice here, just so they move a little faster. You could do normal blocks, it doesn't really matter. And we'll extend that a few blocks. And then around this, we're going to do white concrete here. And then probably 3 blocks tall of glass, just so we can see in here. It can be any block you want. And then we'll just extend this bit of concrete around and put in glass here so that the villager won't just fly out of this thing. And let's put a sign on this glass here above the hole so that the water doesn't flow down when we eventually put the water in, but not quite yet. Because first we need to get our rail going through here, since the rail will stop the water this way. So we'll just connect the rail over here. Then we're going to put power rails leading up to here, and then an activator rail here, which we'll need to power from below with a lever. So once the villager moves over this activator rail, the minecart will boot it out, and the only possible spot it'll have to go, since these spots are all filled with rails, will be in here. And then we will put a trapdoor, need a block first, put a trapdoor here to prevent the villager from going back into the rail area. And then we'll just lead the minecart off over here. And then once the power rail is 2 away so that we don't power these hoppers, we're going to put hoppers. Just going down for now, eventually we'll route them somewhere real. And then over here, make sure you have a block here to prevent the sand from falling. And then we'll break some blocks around here so our cactus can grow. And then we'll just put a cactus here and a powered rail on top of this hopper. And then we'll just put our water here and levers powered on here, here, and here. So now we're pretty much done with all the redstone up top, so it's time for the redstone down below. So once our villager gets down to 1 emerald trades, we're going to want to flip a lever to pull it down. So we're going to put this lever here, and then we're going to sneak down below here and break that block. We're going to want a block here with a redstone dust on it. We're going to want to break this block over here as well and replace it with a sticky piston. Then we're going to put a quartz slab here. It doesn't have to be quartz, but it does need to be a slab, otherwise redstone going down through here will get blocked off if it is a full block. Then we'll just put one here as well. And then below the piston we need a target block, and then between these two blocks we need a glass block right there. And then we'll just put a redstone dust on top of that, and that should be that system working. And once we've done that on all four sides, we should be able to block off all four of these holes. And then you're just left with the one hole in the middle. And we're actually going to go down this hole, and we're going to break this block here, replace it with an observer with the redstone side facing up this way. A sticky piston here, and a red concrete block here. Could be any full block. But basically, we're going to have a zombie sitting in here in a minecart. And we're going to activate it and push it up to eat the villagers. So let's actually get the redstone hooked up. It's actually fairly simple. So what we're going to want to do is go below this observer, get a block there, and just a temporary one, and then put a redstone dust here, and we're going to get some of our glass and extend it down from here if we can reach. There we go. And then level with this redstone dust, we're going to want to put a solid block that we can put a redstone torch on and pass power through this block. Then we're going to point a repeater into that block with the torch on it. Put 2 redstone dust over here. And then run up a line of observers up to a block that we can put a lever on. And I forgot to mention, this repeater actually needs to be on 2 ticks to give it enough time to actually change that redstone torch for the observer to see it down there. So then we flip this lever, and the block should come up, and then we pull it back down, and the block comes down. So now we're going to extend this tube by putting some glass here so that it's just a 1x1 space on each of these sides now. So we'll just bring this down by 2 more because we're going to need to put tripwires in here still. And then for the tripwire system, we're going to want to put a block here, 1 diagonal to that, and then 1 more diagonal to that at this level so it's below the other redstone. Then we're going to put a sticky piston here with a target block on top, redstone dust here, and redstone dust here. And once you've done that in all 4 corners, you can connect your tripwire hooks. Put them on this side, and then obviously just connect them across so that they run below where the villagers are going to fall into. And once you've strung all those tripwires down there, you'll want to go back up to the top section here, break this block in the corner between the 2 red blocks that we have here. You'll want to place observers going up to the top, should be about 6 I believe, until you're up here, and then put a target block on top. So basically what that does is when the villager falls through the trapdoors up there, or down there, it'll send a signal back up here that'll push this block back, which means that this path is open again for the villagers to come through into that one. And then we have just one other system we need to get put in here before we actually get a zombie in here. So let's break this block and put a dispenser facing this way. We're going to put a button here to activate it. And then we're going to break the block above it and this block over here. And we're going to get a hopper facing into the dispenser, and then a hopper facing into that hopper with a chest above it here. So then we can fill potions into that dispenser from here, splash potions, and then press this button to splash them, or apparently a white concrete. And now comes the fun part of getting a zombie into here. Oh boy. So I was walking through my cave to find a dark spot to get a zombie, and I noticed something very strange. There's a cactus growing in my cave. I think an enderman brought down a sand and then put a cactus on top of it and created a cactus farm. This is a Minecraft automation at its finest. Come on, zombie. Let's get to your new home. You're gonna like it. And just make sure you got a name tag on him, and then we can send him up into the machine without us dying, hopefully. So now we just have 6 iron trapdoors to put down. They couldn't be wooden ones. I just prefer the iron ones for this because they look better, and then I don't have to worry about accidentally flipping them down and possibly breaking anything. And then the last thing we really have to do to make this machine functional is make a little collection area for our villagers when we actually are ready and drop them down. So we're going to leave a 3-block gap below this, so 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to start making packed ice, and we're going to bring this back to below the last hole, which should be here, and then we're going to extend this by 2 this way, 2 this way, and then we'll make this 3 long by 5, and then we'll bring it into just 3 here, 1 here, and then we'll do a glass block here. And then we'll just go ahead and surround this in glass. So now you should have something that looks a little bit like this. It's kind of that weird little funnel shape going into here. But next we actually need to make a rail system that'll actually pick up a villager from in the spot. So we actually need to break this glass real quick. We're going to put rails like this, power rail there, and we'll end up powering those. We're going to break this, and we're going to put a glass block back there. And then we actually need to put a rail up here, a rail there, rail there, and we can break this one, and now we can just encompass this section in glass so that our villagers are stuck in there and can be picked up from there. And we'll go ahead and power our powered rail from below, and then we will put a dispenser over here, put a button on here, and then the last thing we have to do is just put ice here and here. You can do water buckets too. Ice is just a little bit easier for me right now. And then the water will flow and they'll funnel into this spot over here. And now the Deal-Maker-9000 is all done. Well, now that the whole thing's built, I suppose we should probably decorate it a bit. And I suppose we should start by making all of our areas accessible that need to be accessible. So we'll start making a staircase here up to the top platform where the Deal-Maker actually is. So perhaps something like that, a little curved staircase going around. And then we also need to actually have access to our villager breeder because we need to be able to send the villagers through to the system. So that's a little bit more tricky because we have this to work around as well as our minecart return right here. And I also forgot to show I added a little off switch to our villager breeder so that we can stop all these villagers from being here. It's a little cruel, but you know what? We don't want lag. So I think we'll maybe do something like this, just a little staircase up into it so it's a little bit smooth without bumping our head too much up here. And then it'll meet up back with the floor over here. And I figure we should probably dip down this section just a little bit, give it a little more depth on the floor here, as well as making it a little more level with this machine so we can access it a little easier. And I think up top here we're actually going to make a little bit of a balcony that kind of follows that curve down below, in case we do want to add anything upstairs. So I've gone ahead and cleared out a little bit more space here for us and put in some of these walls, and I think we need to get some color in here because there is way too much white. Start by turning this base layer around the wall to red, might help a little bit. And we could probably add some polished deep slate around here. And add in a ceiling right around here. I think I'll just do a smooth red. So our interior here is pretty much done. We put in the ceiling and some deep slate trim around it. We put in a little more deep slate down here as well. And then we actually connected the rail going outside. Now it is a little empty in here. I do have plans to add some stuff. I may add like a little weakness potion brewing station up there, as well as maybe a chest for some of the workstations, and possibly some other stuff in the future. I'm not too sure what all I'm doing in here yet, but we do have the space to do it if we want to. So now we just have the outside to do, which we're going to be doing in the form of a time lapse. Alrighty guys, so that's pretty much all we're going to do with the villager area for today. I think it turned out pretty nice. Eventually, obviously, we're going to have to put sea lanterns in here instead of torches, as we will with the rest of our base, and that's probably something we're going to want to take care of next episode, before we get building too much in our base. Anyways, that's probably going to wrap it up for today's episode. I'm sorry it took so long to come out. I ran into a few hiccups along the way, and recording redstone is probably not my best talent. I also took a little bit of a break to play a character of mine in a game called Wizard 101. You may have heard of it, you may have not. It's pretty fun. I play it mostly for nostalgia's sake at this point. And I want to try something a little different here. I want to try introducing a question of the day kind of thing. So I want to ask you today, what other games do you guys play besides Minecraft? Let me know in the comments below, because I'd love to know. And if you guys have a question for me, feel free to leave it in the comments below, and I may answer it in the next Let's Play episode. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.